Okay, hi everybody. Norman Hallett here. I'll tell you a bit about myself if you haven't seen me over the last 4 decades, the last two and a half of them online. I think I may have been one of the first ones online. We started the Disciplined Trader back in 2000. So, in any event, today I want to talk about my recent love, recent meaning the last 2 years. I've been focusing on helping traders with their prop trading. Um, 4 phases of winning prop trading. I'm going to really dig in. I generally don't expose a lot about the loaded gun simple trading plan because it's a simple trading plan. But I need to go through today one of at least the first phase in detail, kind of pull the curtain back on why loaded gun is so popular for prop traders. And I'm going to focus on the trigger part, when to get in, when not, and why, and so on when it comes to prop trading. So let's get into the 4 phases of winning prop trading. And I did a couple of screenshots of this morning's trading. And maybe if we have time, it looks like I may have some extra time here, we can take a look at some current charts and what I've explained to you, I'll be able to apply for you there live, which will be kind of some fun. I see here in the chat, that's all about me. Uh, we've got several dozen people here. Can you give me an idea now of whether you're just starting your prop trading or whether you have experience? Tell me where you are with your prop trading so I can gear this talk to you. Um, just anybody who wants to share. If there's only one person that shares, I am going to I'm going to a seasonal prop trader. Does that mean you only trade in the winter, Carlos, or a seasonal? Do you take in? Are you a fan of Jake Bernstein, where you only do what he says with the seasonals and then prop trade, or you just do it sometimes? Who else wants to comment? Um, how long you've been prop trading? I see. For all props, gotcha. Interesting. Anybody else? Okay, very good. Someone who's trying to get monthly payouts. That's great because I'm going to show you uh, one of these issues is going to be the technique. I won't be able to help myself. Sandra is a beginner. Anybody else want to comment? All right, so I think I'm going to really stick to my original plan, and that's really get uh, Sandra and started well but the payouts. Listen, you want to get in trades that have the highest potential. Not only get in, but you want to adjust your position sizing, which is really the big missing piece for many prop traders. So thank you for all that input. Thank you. Okay, now the input's coming in. Okay, let's get into it. The 4 phases of winning prop trading. Um, First, know that futures trading, I think you already know, is risky, can result in substantial loss. Only risk capital should be used, and past performance is not indicative of future results. I went to the University of Cincinnati, graduated with a degree in mathematics, but this room right here, about 4 years after I graduated, I was already running an option trading room that looked a lot like this. It had 63 professional traders that I was responsible um, for their production. They were running other people's money. They were mostly CT commodity trading advisors. In any event, the problem here with most traders, they were too complicated with their here's where I learned that a simple trading plan works. The more hoops you have, the more you'll have a bigger risk and lesser gain if you need a move to actualize. The more it goes, the more you're creating risk. I think you know what I mean in that. So you just need a couple of really good indicators early, and so that you can get into a trade as early as possible, but just not haphazardly, but with a couple of just 2 or 3 solid things coming together, which I'm going to show you a lot of today. When they came into my office when they weren't doing well, most of the time it was a matter of just taking a red pen on all the crap they had on the screen and going with the basics, following the trend, looking at the moving average, certain moving averages, and so on to guide them through what they should be doing. Anyway, that taught me a lot, and I based a lot of my books based on my experience there that I've written. I was bought out by PaineWebber in 1989. Started with them. Was only with them a few years. I was a commodity trading advisor running $1 million portfolios for them. And I stayed only really 2.5 years because of the selling part. A lot of it was on the phone, selling people. Never really liked that. By that time, I was an experienced trader and could do pretty well on my own trading. So kind of got old there. Even though I was making 20% of what I was generating for accounts. And when you're trading millions, that's a pretty good living. The problem, and not the problem, but the beauty of prop trading is they're giving you 90%. Yes, you're trading less. Yeah, you can trade $1 million or $2 million or so in prop trading because they allow 20 accounts in Apex and some of these others. But the idea is that 90% of a smaller amount can still do very, very well. And I expect you can do that too. Here's one of the books that I've written. It's still on Amazon, as well as this one written about me. Again, I started the Disciplined Trader in exactly October of 2000, really helping traders with the mental and emotional issues, because that's really where the rubber meets the road, and why most traders failed. Some of them have pretty good trading plans, not great ones, but good enough to win, but they're just undisciplined. And so that was because I'm married to one of the world's top subconscious trainers, who's been on the cover of psychology magazines, pretty much all of them over her career. I let her help me, and because of that help, I realized again the importance of it. I've been married 44 years, and so coming up on 44, and I better remember that date, July 12th, or maybe I'm sorry, the 18th. I better get that right. Yeah, you can't forget your anniversary. In any event, Tisha is part of our organization now, rather than her own private practice, and has been really since 2000. It's been really fun and really profitable, and profitable for everybody that we work with, or most of them, of course, in working together. And theirmoneyyourprofit.com is something that I formed a couple of years ago to emphasize the beauty of prop trading and how to win at prop trading. So the fact that I've built a lot of trading plans really has prepared me for this situation on how to build one. And I'm going to show one to you today, the roots of one. Again, books and many different industry papers that I've written. You probably know me from many of you from I stopped doing these almost 10 years ago, 4-Minute Drill for Traders, where I talk as between the eyes as I'm going to do right now once we start looking at charts. But it's really put me on the map. You can see my 4-Minute Drill for Traders on YouTube. I've written articles for just about every periodical out there, Traders World most recently, Futures Magazine, which is now Modern Trader. So I'm all over the place, but traders and colleagues look at me as far as trading plan development is concerned. I'm still doing it for some institutional firms. Overall recognition, as we move through this presentation, we'll be recognizing the importance of mental and emotional aspects of trading. The specific techniques I will give you will be laced with the understanding that without the mental and emotional control, you won't succeed as a prop trader. That's where you lose a little bit, and you start revenge trading, and then you blow yourself out. The one time that it really worked for you, it was a bad lesson, and you wind up blowing out everything after that. So the idea here is that you need that mental acuity, and you can do it two ways. You can do it through, say, some of our courses where we have particular meditations and so on for that, or you can realize it within a trading plan, some of the things you can do to offset your affliction. For instance, if you're somebody who has a problem with patience, it doesn't mean you have to trade a 1-minute chart. 2 minutes, fine, 3 minutes, but the shorter the time frame you're looking at, the more you'll expose responsible triggers. The problem with it is that you'll also expose more chop in the smaller time frame. So the 2 and the 5 is where we'll concentrate on today. I concentrate on the 5 mostly. Most of my traders are using 2 and 5. There are a few that use the 1, despite my caution. But as long as they're doing well, I don't, I don't force them to stop. I can't force anything, but you know what I'm saying. I can't advise them. At the conclusion of this presentation, I'm going to be giving you a special offer because you spent your time with me today. And it's an offer that I've never seen anyone else make because they're afraid to make it. So stick around to the end. I think you're going to want to be part of what we're doing. All right, let's get into the prop challenge 1. These are, I'm giving you the 4 steps, but I want to first give you the challenges that I've come across. There's 2 major ones. One is called what I call the red line. That's the bust out line. And then with Apex and Top Step, it's $2,500 for a $50,000 account. So if that $50,000 becomes $47,500, you got to re-up again and reboot your account. So let's take a closer look. The issue really is this tight drawdown limit. So what is the solution? Every trade should include scalping in part or whole. Now, there are some people that, like me, that aren't scalpers. I have never been a scalper, but when I prop trade, I am a scalper. Not totally, but part of what I do is scalping. Why? Because you benefit by taking a P&L, taking your profit at the high of a trade, at the most extended of a trade in your favor, okay? That really, really helps you because there are 2 things that you're doing when you're prop trading. One is that you're being defensive. You don't want to breach the red line. And the other is you're trying to pass the green line where you start getting paid. And after you get paid, you want to extend that green line. And I can show you that in another presentation. But every trade should include scalping in part or whole. Why? Because when you take a trade at its height, you're padding your distance to the red line, which is you got to, in the beginning, you got to, the red line's more important than the green line, but as you really get good at this and start getting paid over time, the green line or the extension of your equity is more important than your red line because the red line becomes so far away. Okay, so I think I've said enough, and I'm going to show you some examples in yesterday's action, and if we can get to today's, I think I got today's gold chart up there too. So the less you ask from a trade on initiation, the more it'll be a favorable outcome. I mean, there is some reasoning to some logic to why one would scalp. The problem with all scalping is that if you have a streak where you're not getting enough for your scalp, you're taking a lot of losses, and it can take many, many scalps to get that back. So you really want to trade with a combination of scalping and what I call an extension, a runner. Okay, but just by definition, the less you ask, the more you're likely to get it. That's a good thing when it comes to prop trading. Each successful scalp pads the distance between your balance, your equity balance, and the red line. So I like to use a scalp runner combination upon the execution of a trade, or using scalping exclusively. I like to get in on big candles. Big candles mean power, and many times in the trigger I'm going to show you it has an extension candle, and that I like to see the bigger the extension candle, the more power there is in seeing the continuation. Doesn't always happen, but the bigger the candle, the more I like it. The problem with a big candle is that you've got a lot of room usually to the stop. So you're taking a larger stop. And in some cases, even though I recommend a minimum of 2 contracts in a position meaning I'm taking an approach to the market, I'm getting 2 micro S&Ps, let's say. So I've got 2 contracts in the one trade. Okay. I always, a minimum of 2 contracts, a minimum of a scalp and a runner. Okay. If I see a good environment, I may take on 3 contracts where I always favor the scalp. 2 scalps, 1 runner. Maybe I'll take on 4, 2 scalps, 2 runners. Okay, so you see where I'm getting at here. I'm always, but at the minimum, if you have a very big candle and that spells a long stop, a stop that's far away, and I can only take on 1 position to fit my maximum risk. And we can talk about that along the way, what that is. I'll only take one contract, but I want to be in on a long candle, but that one contract is a scalp. Okay, so I'm putting a lot of things in my favor. Big candles, so high probability of continuation. Uh, Scalp, I'm asking for less out of a market than, and therefore I'm likely to get less. So I'm putting a lot of things in my favor. Okay, so that is the first situation. The second situation is identifying a set of frequent, reliable triggers. You need it's like the only way to beat Usain Bolt, and you normally won't do it, is you better get a good start out of the blocks. The problem is he's one of the best sprinters that ever got that was ever born that gets out of the blocks. Okay, so but if you want to beat a faster person in general, you got to get out of the box quicker than they are, and really a good reliable means that it will give you what you want. In our case, at least the scalp within the first couple of candles. Okay, the subsequent candles, and reliable means reliable means that you can get your scalp easily. Frequent means it happens often enough so that you're not stretching your issue of lack of patience, especially if you have a short time to trade. If you only have 90 minutes or 2 hours, whatever, to trade in a day, you can sit there all day without a trigger. But if you go to the 2 minute, not the 5 minute, you'll get more triggers, and so that will increase the frequency. But you want a candle, you want a trigger that occurs frequently anyway. Combine that with a shorter term candle chart, and combine that with its reliability. That's what you want. You want something that is frequent, so that you're not testing your patience and moving off your trading plan, and you want it to be reliable. Something that you know that if you take the trigger based on its rules, that it's going to give you a nice product. Okay, a nice profit. I call it the product. So it's a nice product. So the issue is, in order to keep the risk reward ratios in line, a reliable trigger, one that gives you a pop. Okay, you want a pop, one that has a continuation of that, what's going on in the trigger that you took the candle that you took from. You want to pop in your direction upon application. At least 2/3 of the time is needed. So a pop means one that moves in your direction within a few candles, and one that has a reasonable size. We're going to take a look at some charts from today, and I'll show you how why it did so well today, and all this month, and all last month, why it does well. Okay, it seems to be doing better and better. The more volatility, the more runs you get, and therefore that runner really is we benefit from that. The trigger must also be frequent, meaning that the trigger appears often enough not to challenge your patience as you wait for it to occur. Okay, the solution is to have at least 2 8+ triggers. I'm going to show you one of them today. We have 3 of them. We have a third one coming up, and a fourth one that I think we'll be able to pass before the summer. I have a long gestation period when it comes to testing triggers. So when I say, the end of the summer, that's how long it's going to take me to test it live. Okay, having at least 2 8+ triggers. The third one's about to come out. That have been tested thoroughly to meet the frequent reliable standard. If you trade a single market, change time frames to expose more triggers. As I mentioned, if you're used to trading off the 10-minute candle, go to the 5 or the 2. You'll expose more triggers. For example, 2 short candles can combine into you can change time frames, or you can combine candles. In other words, you can go the other way. I don't want to confuse you, but if you see 2 triggers that look like it would have formed or 2 candles that would have formed a trigger, put them together and you may get a trigger. I'll show you. Forget all of that now. Don't want to confuse you. I'll show you when we look at the chart. You can trade more than one market. I'm actually trading 6 at a time because I'm pretty good at it's a very easy candle to recognize. I'm going to show you the hours and so on. So when you see it, you go. Okay, so I can watch a number of candles at a number of markets at the same time. So I want that frequency there. So how do I get frequency? I move down in my candle size. I look at a few markets, looking for, because it can occur in any of those markets. So you need to do things on a physical basis if the lack of patience is your problem. Okay, so All right, are you ready to take a look at some charts? Let me get back to just look at the chat real fast and see if we can get some other people to comment besides the ones that were already commented. Or if you already commented, Mr. Moore and Sandra and Ralph and Suzanne, if you want to comment, are we ready to look at some charts? Are you with me on this? Are you having a good time? Just give me some feedback here so I know that I'm not talking to myself, because I'm really about to give you a lot of information here that I really don't want you to go and use it right away, because I'm giving you the heart of why it's important to do what we're doing and be part of it. And then at the end, I'm going to show you a way to be part of what at a very inexpensive way to do that. Okay. Anybody else? I see we got couple. Anybody else want to comment? Just give me some encouragement. Slow down, speed up, something. All right. Okay. Good. Okay. Let's take a look at some charts. Well, let's take a look at the four phases of profitable. Here's the four phases. The pop triggers. Okay, we've been discussing pretty much of that. Frequent, reliable triggers, 2 contract minimum. The second phase is the scalp. Pad your distance, because it pads your distance from the red line. And we're going to be touching on a little bit of that today. And then we want to manage that runner. When that market goes, you have to have the confidence to let something run. Most traders that are having problems with prop trading are having problems because they're not letting their winners run. Yeah, they're getting in poorly too, but sometimes they get in. I've run into, maybe it's just 2 in a row that I've coached recently that have they get in okay, but then they don't want any kind of backfill in something that runs. So I'm going to you really need to manage that runner, because that's where the big money is. Okay. And the 4 is how to exit that runner. You got to let it run, but when do you exit? How can you judge when a contract is running? How can you judge when it's at exhaustion? And you got to look at its distance, for instance, from a major support resistance. I like to look at that. How about time to absorb the run? It makes a big move and then starts going sideways. Do you get in or do you get out? How much time do you let something go sideways? And there are rules for that we have in Loaded Guns. So, or is it better to go to the next trade? I want to mention this real fast if I never see you again. I think that traders don't control their time well enough. If you've got a big profit in something and it starts to go sideways, and it's against, say, a reasonable support and resistance that it may have trouble getting through, don't spend time there. Take your profit. Especially in this game of prop trading, take your profit and go on to the next trade, because the next trade means that you are now going to follow a trigger that 2/3 of the time is going to at least give you the scalp. So why not be in that situation as opposed to a long drawn out trend that is all of a sudden going sideways and now becomes a 50-50 trade. So honor your time. Okay, when you trade. And if you've got a nice profit, there's no problem with going ahead and taking it and moving on to the next trigger, because it's the trigger that you've tested and done well with along the way. So let's get into what, and this is the trigger that I'm looking at. This is the original Loaded Gun trigger. What it is, and what I'm looking at are 2 candles. And I'm looking at the 8-bar exponential moving average. That's what this is right here. When you have a candle that is a small candle, either a spinner or a doji, doji meaning the open and close are exactly the same within the time frame that you're dealing with. In this case, let's call it a 5-minute chart. Okay. You want a small body followed by an extension body that goes through the 8. The bigger this extension body is, the more I like it. The bigger the difference between these, the more I like it. This was derived from me about, well, somebody showed it to me and then I gave it a reason. If you ever watched the floor traders in the old days, the standing around smoking cigarettes, you can tell when I don't even have to look down at the floor. I can tell they're all smoking cigarettes during this. And when I see this, I can tell they're all up on the steps, waving their hands, buying and selling. This is where the power comes in trading. You know, when you cross, I look at the 8-bar exponential moving average. I call it the golden mean. There's other places that will cause them. Some call it the 9. I use the 8. Some use the 10. I use the 8. Okay, I use the 8. You can use what you want. I don't think it's going to make a huge difference, although I've only tested the 8. Okay, so when you see this, you go long. Okay, and so where do you put your stop? You put it below the formation, whichever candle has the lower low. So this one has a low here, this one has the low here. So it's going to be a couple of ticks below here. Some people like 1 tick. I like about 3 or 4 ticks below. Okay. Or you can go short in this. And notice I chose here one that just punched through. As long as it punches through, it meets my requirements. Again, a spinner followed by a long extension candle, I call it, that breaks through the 8. Okay. This is a short trade. Where do I put my stop? Easy, right above here. Okay. And and I'll talk to you a little bit about how I trail a stop, but there's a lot more to say than the simplicity that I'm going to give you, because really the winning prop traders are traders who know how to let something run and let the scalps take care of the losers. Okay. And then knowing that they're going to go home with the extension candle that turns into a big running trade. I had two last a couple of weeks ago. I had 2 micros. I had a trade that involved having just 2 micros. Actually 4. I took 2 out at the scalp and I let 2 run. Well, those 2 that ran made $920. Unbelievable. That's the kind of power that a runner can have, even with the small contracts, even with micro. So it was rare. I mean, the market was up about 90 points when I sold it, and it wound up being down 100 points that day. So that's how that happened. All right. So let's take a look at some charts. All right. Here is yesterday's S&P chart. I grabbed it yesterday. I think I have one that I threw on here at the end this morning. I put the gold chart, but these are the points where these loaded gun triggers are had. Okay. I wanted to show you a losing trade first. Well, maybe it isn't a losing trade. You see this right here? This is a loaded gun trigger going north, right? This is the 8-bar exponential moving average. And this would be going north. We measure the body here, and we extend that body to a point. Now, there are rules that I have. I can't say everything for the paid people, as well as I don't think it's going to hurt this demonstration by not giving you the exact way but generally it's usually a percentage of this move we calculate and put a sell limit, of which this probably would not have gotten that before it turned around. Again, here is the trigger. It looks like a loaded gun. It looks like it's just these 2 candles, of course. And this is the revolver pointing north. This is the trigger. So it's a gun that's kind of pointing north. My wife hates the name loaded gun, but it looked to me like a revolver. So this didn't happen. Okay. Not going to happen all the time. Here's one that did happen. Okay. You've got a small body. I'd like to see a little bit smaller, but the fact that we moved through this so nicely through the 8, and we took out all these high bodies. I like taking out these high bodies, but here's the trigger, okay? And if you measure this this body, even if you took the whole thing, you would have gotten your trigger. You would have gotten your scalp here, and then we like to move the remaining. Remember, when you took the 2 positions here, one is a scalp. Okay, one is a scalp and one is a runner. So but when you take the runner, you move the stop they were both down here to break even. Okay, so but we have rules about extending how long to wait till something extends. Okay, now here's a loaded gun trigger on the short side. Okay, and I have to say that we have another moving average we use that I'm not going to show you here. That keeps us out of trades, wishing we were in, out of trades instead of being in. And this is, if I had this moving average, we would not be in this trade. So I'm giving you the base of the loaded gun simple trading plan system, just showing you the basic trigger and how it works. There are some traders, some very successful loaded gun traders that take every trade, whether it's it's whether it's recommended or not. Every time they see the loaded gun trigger, they take it. Here they would have lost. Okay, but look what happens sometimes here. We have a loaded gun trigger here, but look at this. Another one here that would have gotten a scalp. Here's a big, this is the loaded gun trigger that I've talked about where I really like, when I see this, um, I really like getting in. Now, it may take some time, but if you extended this candle, we always teach you to look at in this case, the supports and resistances around you. I mean, you can pretty much anticipate the fact that we're going to test this area. So you're not going to ask for your scalp to be down here. You're going to ask for a scalp right in this area. Okay, you don't want to test the bodies of these lows. So you would have gotten out probably right here in your scalp, and you would have moved your stop to break even, and it would have stopped out at break even. So not a bad trade, and the fact that these moves here, these big moves, don't necessarily move to. I mean, they did here with the big candles, but they don't always result in a very big trade on the downside in this case. But the probability that you take the scalp is very high. That's why I like these. Okay, so let's keep going. Here is another loaded gun signal. Notice that this is on the moving average rather than totally on one side. This body is straddling it rather than what I like to see on one side. But the fact that it straddles is okay as long as it closes below like this, and then the extension candle moves above it. So you would have had your scalp here also. So this is the 5 minute, and you would have had a pretty good day here. Even if you took all of these, even though I can't show you why we wouldn't have taken these trades, it's easy for me to say, probably saying, well, sure, he's not going to take these trades. But even if I took all of these trades, you had a couple of losers in here, a couple of nice scalp winners, and here's another nice scalp winner. Again, you don't know what to ask for. You should know better what to ask for in a trade when you see lower highs like this, and you know that these are going to be challenged. So in this trade, if I put on 3 contracts, I'm taking 2 out here. Okay, I want to test here. Actually, this is not a big candle, so I would be taking 2 out of the 3 out right here and leaving the other one. Okay, so we teach you how to favor how to put in the number of contracts to use at certain situations, and when to get out and when to get in. So now this is a RSI. It's the standard that's on your computer. If you just use the standard figures but I don't use this to get into an account. I use this strictly for position sizing. So let's see what's going on here. We have a price escalation. The market is escalating. We have a matching of a high here and an almost matching of a high here. But we have a decelerating RSI, momentum. RSI is a momentum indicator. So what you really want to do is maybe here you want to take 3 micros instead of 2, and use 2 as a scalp and 1 as a runner. Okay, maybe you want to do that here. Why? Because we have a kind of a parallel here strength. You can see it's starting to weaken, but not the kind of weakening that the RSI is doing. So I just wanted to give you a quick example of the way I use the RSI to adjust my position sizing. Okay, let's move to you ready? I'm gonna just go to the chat real fast. Does anybody have any particular question to this point? Shall I go to the 2 minute? Shall we continue on? Because I want to show you some more charts. Actually, we're working on the arrow populating. No, the arrow is not part of the population right now, but as you can see, as you can see, they're very easy to recognize. So what I do is I will see, what I didn't mention to you is that this has to close. This extension bar has to close in order for me to get in. It has to close. So I set my ALEXA. What I do is I set, I shouldn't say that because it'll, I'll say Alexa and look at this way and see if it turns blue. I'll tell it to tell me when 4 minutes are up. as soon as the 5 minutes are up in this candle, I'll tell Alex to notify me when, buzz me when it's 4 minutes. Because then I have a minute to take a look at what's going on in this two candle formation. And if it's going if I can see it's going to be a trigger, I'm going to set up the trade and put my finger down on the mouse. And as soon as this candle closes, I go in at the market short by lifting my finger up. So I think you're going to find it very easy to see. But there is one of our traders right now. Actually, I think it's the guy that's running our trading room. He's close to populating this. The problem is that when I need the close to populate this. So when it closes, by the time you see it, it's going already, which is the problem with a lot of these indicators and a lot of these, when they'll tell you when they're going. By the time you see it, the move is gone. And in this particular case, you want to get in at the close. So although you'll have the arrows, I say don't use them. I'm showing it to you here so that I can identify the trades that we took today. Okay, so I hope that answers your question. Any other questions before we go to the 2-minute? I want to show you the frequency of the 2-minute. Anybody has any other questions, or am I explaining this pretty good? Is it a good pace? Am I talking too fast, too slow? I'll take a drink while you answer me. Okay, looks like I'm going at a good pace. All right, let's take a look at the 2-minute. All right, here's the 2-minute. It's the same period of time. I usually start about 7 o'clock when I wake up. Here is a beautiful signal. Beautiful, right? Nice. Another, and this right here, some of our people would consider this a loaded gun signal. I don't, because I like to see a little bit more powerful extension candle. But, because it's such a small risk, because you're putting your stop down here, there's others that would take it and would have benefited by it. Here is again, short, got your scalp, and a little bit more. Here's one that you would have gotten your scalp. Again, we're never taking any more than the size of the candle, so you'd be getting out here. And then you'd break even on your second position because you moved your stop up, right? Here's a signal right here and another signal right here. Here's the 2-minute, okay? Now, here's a signal. This is a signal right here that, let's see, I'm just imagining the other loaded gun. Yes, you would have taken this signal and lost. And this signal you would not have taken based on our defensive moving average that I'm not showing you here. So you just have to believe me on that. This one is one that you would take with a scalp. This one, of course, is one that we would take. And we'll get to some live, but you can see how even in a small, this is a 4-hour period that you're seeing some. We actually usually get more signals than this. This is actually another secondary temp signal. All right, let's take a look at something I picked off today, the gold market. This is from today's action, and this was this morning because this is a trade I caught early, right? So I'm looking, and not this one, but this one here. But look at this. You got now even if you counted this, small body, extension candle, but again, it's not a big candle. But again, if you took this and only wanted a few ticks from it, you would have gotten it because you don't ask for much from a small candle. You'll ask for a little bit more here. You want that scalp to be right in here. You would have gotten it, look like on the first candle, move to break even, and you're here. Now, this market didn't go anywhere. You would have been out on break even here. Actually, with our system, yes, you would have been out there. But here is another candle, but you keep going with the system, okay? But look at this. You got a doji that's right on the line, which is good enough. And then you've got a beautiful, but look at this candle. Not only is it a loaded gun signal, but it's taking out all of these highs, all of these lows against a double top. I mean, and you've got a descending RSI against a matching high here. Wow. This is a take. This is if you're using micros in the gold, you're taking 5 here. I'm looking at I go from 2 to 6. That's my range. I'm taking 4 or 5 here. It's a lot of things going my way. So we teach you how to amplify a trade, when to hold back on a trade, when not to take a loaded gun, because I'm showing you the loaded gun system, but I'm not showing you the defensive moving average that we have, as well as some of the other things that we do. So, but I just wanted to show you the raw talent of a good trigger. Not only is a trigger that is frequent and 2/3 of the time will give you your scalp, but also 2/3 of the time will give you a scalp because it has a pop to it in the first few candles. Here in the first 2, here in the first candle. So here, you're down here, but look at this. Essentially, we like to ride we like to ride the 8 all the way down. I want to see how far this went today. So this is a pretty good example. This is why I'm having a good day today, this trade. It doesn't take much. I usually don't catch the winner in my first trade today, but today I'm real big on gold because it's really an active market right now, and it's really good for actually, not only is it good from an offensive standpoint, but the system is really good at keeping you out of trades. In other words, if you walk away today and just start taking all the trades that look like loaded gun signals, you're not going to do very well. You'll do okay, but you won't do very well. There are times to take it and times to amplify it and times not to take it. Okay, so let me continue. Let me ask you if you. Let me see. Let me ask you if you've got, rather than I've got a little extra time to go to another chart of your request. So what live chart would you like to see right now? Let me just reduce this for now. This is the 6E, which I like to trade. But if somebody would give me a suggestion, I will look at this is what's going on right now. This is an active chart, a 2-minute. Just tell me what chart you'd like me to look at. Barry wants to look at TWLO. I don't know what that is. If that's a stock, I don't trade stocks. And if that's a signal, let's go with the silver. I only trade silver in my $250,000 accounts because they don't allow, Apex doesn't allow the micro contracts in that. But let's look at silver. I'm sure I have it up here. I guess I don't. I was trading the gold. Let's get to the SI. All right, here's silver futures. Okay, I mean, let's look at, this is what, 10 o'clock this morning. This is the 2-minute. Whoever gave me the silver futures, what time frame do you trade? Mr. Moore, what time frame do you trade? 5-minute. Okay, let's look at the 5-minute. I like the 5-minute too, so I'm with you on that. So let's look at the 5-minute. Okay. Well, first of all, if you were trading this today and you started at 7 like I do, you would have had this trade. This is the same trade that I had in the gold. But look at this. I mean, not only is this a loaded gun signal, okay, because you're comparing these two bodies, small, and, listen, we can talk about other formations like the tail in our one-on-one discussions. When you decide to do this with me, we're going to have some one-on-one meetings, and I'm going to find out exactly where your experience level is. And we're going to talk about the meaning of something like this when it comes to position size. And when you see now this is not this is a shooting star type formation. So is this. This is a much more important one. Why? Because it actually, by definition, it's got to be at the top of a run, which it is. You could say this is a run, but it's not much of a run. But the idea is that you can talk about your position sizing in here. But look at this. Even if you miss this, okay, you've got this, which is another loaded gun signal, only right after, if you know what I mean. But look where it leads. Beautiful. Let's see if we have any others here. Here's another loaded gun signal, right? It's happened in the morning, 2 in the morning, but you can see it works any time of day. Here's a similar loaded gun signal, but it's straddling here. But it's probably one I wouldn't have taken, although I would have, because one of the things I like is one of the high probabilities are not only a breakout like this, but when it continues, when a market has a strong trend and then absorbs that trend and then gives you a loaded gun signal with the trend, that's very high probability for your scalp, and you would have gotten it here. So let's keep going. This is the 5-minute. Here's another. So this one here, if you took it, you lost. Okay. Here's one right here. If you took it, you would have had your scalp. Here's another one right here. Again, you got to watch these small ones to take. But if you took it, you lost. If you took this one, had a really nice gain. So I hope you see that it would have done really well in silver. Let's look at another day in silver, just so it's just not one day. It's been really good with the precious metals. Hey, here's a loaded gun signal. Here's a loaded gun signal. Short. Here's a loaded gun signal. And I'm not even showing you the ones that you wouldn't have taken. This one you would not have taken, even though you would have had your scalp. You wouldn't have taken this one, but you would have taken this one. Look at this. Boom. Look at this. Nothing, but you would have had your scalp. See this? You never take more than the length of it, and you would have been you would have recognized this, and you would have taken your scalp right in here. Here's another small one. A lot of guys like to take the small ones. I don't like because it's got a small risk, but a lot of times they're gonna 2/3 of the time they're gonna do well. Here's one that I wouldn't have taken, and they would have taken, but look at that risk reward. Okay, and look at this. I mean, so and this is yesterday, right? The day before. So look, I'm just saying to you. Let's. Somebody said YM. Looks at YM. Again, I'm making this is better than it looks because I'm showing you. Well, actually, it's better than it looks because I'm not showing you the if you notice, I'm skipping over some because we wouldn't be taking them, and without the training, you're going to be taking ones that you shouldn't be taking. And at the investment I'm going to ask you to make, hopefully you'll want to get next to a guy like me that seems to care. I hope I'm coming across as caring. And I'm going to give you a couple of bonuses that are just going to freak you out because I'm going to make you admit something. I'll look at the YM. I saw somebody looked at the YM. Here's the micro version, which is the same. But here would be a loaded gun signal, right? And everybody would be scared shitless with this signal. Not me. Now, I will say that we never take a trade in prop trading that exceeds a certain amount. I won't expose those amounts right now, but there was a specific amount that gives us enough chances with winnings and losing, even in choppy markets, so that we don't have to get challenged by the red line. But this would really you may only take one scalp here and one micro, okay? But you want to take it. It's a very high, and you would have gotten it, a very high probability. Here's something that that is a loaded gun trigger. Here's a loaded gun trigger on the south side that did not work out. Here's one that looks like if your scalp was down here, we actually would have been out of this trade right here. So again, not all losses. Most losses are not full losses. In other words, if you took a loaded gun signal here, you would, but this would have been a minimum. Why? Because you don't want to go against the double top. And the more conservative people, I don't want you going against the double top. But look, even if you took every one, you just need these. Look at here. Look at this loaded gun signal. This is one I would take. It's not a big candle, okay? But it's something that with a very low probability risk factor, you've got a really high potential to see us at least test here. And look at this. You would have really had a gigantic winner here. This you wouldn't have taken with our system. This one you would have with our system. And so you would have had your scalp here. This one you would have taken. This one you would not have taken. But you would have had your scalp here. So even in the YM, which has been this is a big profit here. It doesn't look like much, but you would have had a nice day in the YM, even on a choppy day. Let's look. This is a 5-minute. The YM guy, or gal, what trade, Sandra? What do you trade? The 2, the 5, the 10, the 5. Okay, so this was the 5. All right, let's look at another market. Anybody have a suggestion? And then I'll give you my offer. 1 minute. I don't look at the 1 minute. Although guys look at the 1 minute. Let's look at the 1 minute just because you asked. I just think I'm too old for the 1 minute. But look at the 1 minute. You see this small candle? Boom! You would have been in here. This is the one you would have taken. You would have gotten your scalp. This. Look at that. Loaded gun signal through the 8. You would have had all of this, but you would have given back some of it here, and you probably would have taken this long, and you would have gotten out actually right in here. Another one choppy. Another one you would have had your signal. Here's a loaded gun signal right here. You would have had all of this. So you would have had both runs with a little bit of chop. I just don't like to get into these choppy situations. I don't like the wine. A lot of the guys trade one and do very well with it. I don't have the patience. I don't like to have 2 or 3 losses in a row, which you can do with an excellent system on the one. I'm always worried about my head. Not worried, but I know that when I stay mentally strong, I'm doing well. And when I don't, that's when I need to take a break. And I like to be in the market as much as I can. All right, somebody give me another market they look at, and then I will give you my offer. Oops, I guess that's me saying hi. Started my video. Hello, everybody. Anybody want to give me another market? We'll look at it, and then we'll go to the offer. Nobody has a market. Otherwise, I will. I'll show you the Eurodollar if you don't give me another suggestion. All right. Eurodollar it is. Let's go to the Eurodollar. I like the euro. I like the euro because you can take to 6E on, but that's the 1 minute. You can see how choppy it is in the 1 minute. But let's look at the 5. This is the euro. This is the current market. Here's, I don't know if this is straddling, but it looks like it is. Here's a beautiful lift off here. Here's another one where you got your scalp. Here's another small one if you would take it. And this is one that I take because it's a continuation of an uptrend. Here's one that we would not take for specific reasons I can't talk about. So you would have had a nice run in the Eurodollar. And what I like about the Eurodollar, it really loves to run. And so does the Japanese yen. But look at this. You see this run? This is the Eurodollar. What's at the top? A loaded gun signal. See this run? What's at the top? A loaded gun signal. See this? A little scalp, but it was a loaded gun signal. I have to show it to you. Here's another one that really isn't a loaded gun signal. I don't take that. I like to see more difference between here. Here's one that didn't do anything. But again, you don't expect much here because you got a lot of topping action here. Okay, let me show you my offer, and then you can be part of what I'm doing. I really like to work with people one-on-one. It's part of the bonus that I give. So let me show it to you now. I'm going to expand this. Here's my offer to you, and you won't see this anywhere else. It's the Loaded Gun Simple Trading Plan. I've only given you a piece of the beginning, where to get in. I've only given you 1 out of 2 and upcoming 3 triggers that we like to get in on. I've mentioned the scalp. I've mentioned the importance of the scalp and the runner. This is important because you need to recognize that red line, okay? And keep that in. So if you're taking scalps, you never have to worry about the red line as long as you're taking scalps from a system that gives them to you frequently. And that's what this is with a pop. So in the Loaded Gun Simple Trading Plan, you're going to get the core Loaded Gun Trading Plan, which is it all fits on 1 sheet of paper. Okay, it's just 2 basic videos. The whole thing is an hour and a half long, both of them together, and with all of the examples. So it is a very simple trading plan, and then we add pieces to it. I want you to get successful with the simple part, and then I want you to even improve that as I show you how to improve it by recognizing certain things in the chart. So depending on what level you are, we can start kind of strong, or we can start just with this core Loaded Gun Trading Plan. I want to see you start to win. I want to see you start to feel like this is for you instead of, is all of this trading, is it for me or not? I mean, should I even be doing? I want you to multiply the winners. Okay, I want you to have 3 or 4 winners in a row. I want you to have all of those things that especially a beginner trader needs to have. Okay, so you're going to get that with the core trading plan and just the 8, like I showed you, but managed in a different way than I've showed you, or in a more complex way, but not too complex. This is a simple trading plan. I'm going to give you all of the nuances. A nuance is something that I created during my time with in that room of 63 traders, professional traders that I was responsible for. The nuances are small things that you can do. Once I know your personality, once I know that you're going to be a revenge trader, once I know that you're making 100 trades a day and you shouldn't, once I know that you lack patience and you kind of start to make stuff up in your head, these nuances are just small things that you can do to offset your affliction. Okay, it's not going to solve it. The solving it is going to take mental training, which we can also provide for you, which we do for most of our traders anyway. Once they start working with me, you see the importance of the mental. We have that for you. But the idea is that most traders lose because they have no, they don't give enough importance to. Oh, I'll be disciplined. Oh, I'll just get myself willpower. Well, it's not working for you, and it never will. You've got to change your subconscious mind, what you're doing, or you got to change the way you trade in a way that been proven based on somebody who's seen thousands of traders and how these small changes can offset something like lack of patience or over trading or revenge trading. And there are 7 of them right now. Um, and and one of them was the reason why I said we would be out of this trade here and out of this trade here, and I really didn't give you the detail. These nuances will help you will have you understand that. But they're only about 10, 15 minutes each, these videos, and there's 7 of them. I'm constantly testing new nuances, but this is something you see nowhere else. So I recognize the fact that you're frustrated, but I'm also willing to do something about it instead of just saying get a better trading plan, because you're probably on your 5th trading plan now. You don't need another trading plan except for loaded gun. You need the basic. Okay. And then, some traders take some favorite indicator that they're using on their particular trading plan that's actually losing, but they still like this, and they bring it into loaded gun. Let's talk about it I've got enough experience to know whether that's going to help you or hinder you. And then in the end, it's your decision. Okay. So I know trading and I know traders. So I'm going to help get you matched here. The monthly get-togethers, every last Wednesday of the month, we meet. And we get together and we discuss. I give you any updates that I'm working on. We share our experience. A trader will tell you they got their first payout. And we actually have some very experienced traders. A couple of former floor traders who love loaded gun, and they wish they saw it while they were on the floor. Because of its simplicity and how it keeps you in trades when others would be getting out of trades, like I kind of showed you here, that others would get in even with the same signal. So we have these monthly get-togethers where we all have our little boxes and we share our screens and we really have a good time. It's really a success kind of a thing. And if you're struggling, I want to know why. We'll beat you up a little bit if we have to. But generally, it's really very positive. It is always positive. Okay, but the bonus number 1, I want to work together with you to make this happen. Okay, I want to give you 90 days of unlimited private one-on-one with me, just you and me, 2 boxes on Zoom. I want to hear how long you've been trading. I want to hear what you trade, what time frames you trade. I want to hear how you screw up. I want to hear your successes, and then I want to talk. Then I want to advise. I want to say, hey, look, you're not the only one that I've ever coached that had all these afflictions or on their 110th evaluation account. You're not the only one. Okay, so let me tell you what others are doing. You can take this the way you want or not, and let's meet again in 2 weeks. Because I want to keep on top of you. If you're in this to give this a shot, don't purchase from me. Okay, if you're in this to win, if you're in this to break through, take advantage. Those are the people I want. Okay, your 90 days starts with our first meeting. Now, you can have as many of these meetings as you want. And to tell you the truth, I always tell you the truth, but to give you what actually happens most of the time is that I have 1 or 2 meetings, especially if somebody's experienced. Somebody just starting out, Sandra, you said you were new, I think. We can meet every couple of weeks if you want. We can meet every week if you want. You have my calendar. And you do. Not every week, maybe a little. I'll say, hey, do this, do that. Trade it for a couple of weeks. Send me your trades. And I'll comment on them, but let's meet in a couple of weeks and see if that solved your issue and if you're on the right winning track. So have as many as you want here with me, okay? But that 90 days starts at our first meeting. So if you have something to do between now and the end of the month, purchase this right now, because this deal that I'm doing is ending. It's ending. I think this is the last time I'm going to actually offer it, at least at this pricing. But I may have to offer it again on Thursday for something, but it won't be at this pricing. I want you to know that I want to be there for 90 days. And so I want you to look at the videos, look at the videos, get a basic understanding, and then book your trade after your vacation. And that's when the 90 days start. So you'll already have a pretty good knowledge of it. You may have even attended our monthly meeting or whatever. So time it the way you want. But I just listen, you won't need 90 days of upfront and close with me. It's not what's going to happen. I want to know your weaknesses, and I want to know your strengths. And I want to give you, everybody is different. I want to give you an idea, a clear vision of what to focus on and what not to. So I'm going to be with you every step of the way. That's bonus 1, you and I working together. Bonus 2 is a private session with Tisha to eliminate the primary mental and emotional issue that's causing you to be your own worst enemy. Don't say this doesn't apply to you, because it does probably 99% of the time. The traders who come to me have the ability to do this. You don't have to be a genius to be a very successful trader. You just have to be disciplined. And if you're not disciplined because you're over trading or you're doing crazy things, you need Tisha. Tisha's the one that turned me around 35 years ago. Now she's part of this organization to turn you around. She will understand in your hour session with her, actually it's 50 minutes, your hour session with her, you will describe your situation. She'll pull it out of you. And then she will record a meditation specifically for you, using your name, your weaknesses, your strengths, and turning all of that around to what's going to work for you as far as your affliction is concerned. It's going to turn it around. You'll have the patience of a saint, or even of a pope, maybe of a new pope. You won't be over trading. You'll understand the importance, because we have an expression around here. I'm a wise and disciplined trader. I do the things that a wise and disciplined trader does. I don't care if you have the fear of losing, lack of patience to wait for the ideal setup, revenge trading, hesitation to pull the trigger, overcoming fear and greed. Everybody gives you lip service. Any of these gurus out there, and there are a lot of good ones, they'll give you lip service around this. I am digging in with you on this, because this could be the difference. This is the most important bonus I have ever offered and ever will offer. And I'm offering it to you. An hour with Tisha. 50 minutes with Tisha. Because she has to rest for 10 minutes before the next person. I just want it to be eliminate your situation. Okay? It is worth the investment amount that I'm going to show you. Just that. But here's a vanishing bonus I threw in, because there's one of those traders I mentioned to you, who is Danny DeMaria. He's a former floor trader, and he loves loaded gun, and he's taught his son loaded gun, who's taking money every week. Okay, so Danny and his son, mostly Dan, are running this trading room. It's going to start either next week or June 1st. Okay, you're going to be in the beta group. Okay, for our new trading room, headed up by a former floor trader, Danny DeMaria, and his son. And I want to show you what his screen looked like. He's got to pass our compliance, and I had him do a session, just a mock session, and here's what his screen looked like. So he's going to, look, here's a loaded gun signal right here. I can't help but see. Here's another one. Here's another one on the short side, right? So this is a 2-minute chart, and this is a 5-minute chart. So he's looking at the NQ and the MES, right? He's looking at two different markets, two different time frames. He must have people in the room that were looking at this. I just wanted to show you what this is going to be. Danny is so good. I don't just choose people because they ask if they'd like. He asked me to do this. He's so excited about it. What he and his son are doing with this, he wants to help train the world. So he wants to be part of the team. And now that he's there, he is on the lower right hand side. You'll be part of this beta group. But this is vanishing because it's a new group. I can't let a lot of people in here. So this is only good if you take advantage of my offer today. It's not good tomorrow. Okay. So I can give you the loaded gun. Here's another Sandra. I can give you the loaded gun testimonials, but they're all on the offer page. You'll see them there. People making money, getting payouts. I don't give you, hey, I really like the first week of loaded gun. No, 6,000, two small payouts. These were actually two $500 payouts that I suggested she take a small amount. Here's a $21,000 payout. So they're there. I also want you to look, when you get here, look at these videos. These are videos of people just like you and me. Here's Danny right here. I guess he's not like you and me unless you've been a flow trader. But he was an experienced trader. She's an experienced trader. These are new traders. He's a very experienced trader. Here's Pat Fail, who has some trading experience and has done very well. It's in its simplicity. I can weed out so much more in the market. So don't go taking the trades just because I showed you the trigger. I got to show you how to weed out that too. It's very simple, but I didn't give you the keys. Okay, the results stand on its own. I'm seeing more profit. I'm all about the profit. Okay, I'm not about that we started real well. Just look at these videos when you get there. I want you to have this. So here's my offer to you. The Loaded Gun Simple Trading Plan, all the nuances that get together on every last Wednesday, the unlimited coaching, one-on-one starts when we start for 90 days, the special issue elimination session with Tisha. And if you act today, if you're into the trading room, act today, access to the beta room for the new trading room. And my personal guarantee, I'm so confident that you're following the Loaded Gun Simple Trading Plan will result in you getting funded by your prop firm so that you risk their money, not yours, still receive 90% of the profit. Just share your trading experience with me that you follow the simple rules and didn't work for you, and I'll refund your purchase plus $500. I've never had to do it, I'm proud to say. And you get paid. I want this guarantee till you get paid. Okay, once you get paid, you know, if you self-destruct, I can't help you. But I want to get you there. Well, I can help you if it's within the 90 days and you're still in the program. I shouldn't be so facetious. Anyway, here's the offer to you. Getting the Loaded Gun Simple Trading Plan, the core, the nuances, the monthly meetings, the one-on-one coaching for 90 days. You find out more about me. I found more about you. And we really work together. I've got a lot of experience on separating you from the person who gave you a trading plan and it didn't work for you. You're different. You're different. Don't keep hopping around from trading plan to trading plan. Make this your last stop. Okay. Special issue elimination session with Tisha. Again, we charge $500 for this for institutional traders, and we still do that. It's a good part of our business. But we reduce it to $250 for our people. I'm giving this to you. Okay. And then you've got the vanishing bonus, access to the beta group of our new trading room, which is going to start either next Monday or it's going to start on June 1st, one of the two, or somewhere in between. If you add up the value of all of these things, it's a little over $5,200. $1,397 is all I'm asking you for, but I don't want it all up front. And here's what nobody is doing that I want to do for you. I want to get you started. I want you to see what real coaching is. Not just regurgitating the same thing. I told the last guy, everybody is different. I'm into the mental part too. So I want to nuance this so that you can win. Forget about everybody else. I want it to be all about you. Instead of $1,397, what I want is half of that now. $697 is what I want now. And then I want the other half from your profits on the honor system. I'm not going to get paid unless you get paid. I'm not going to get paid unless you get paid. I haven't seen anybody do this. I don't know if they have the confidence to do it. This trading plan works if I can get you to follow it, and it's simple to follow. That's why I'm able to do this. And I'm able to do it because I've asked others. I've done this before, and I'm having good results on the second half. So I'm never going to ask you for it. I'm never going to bug you about it. It's there for you. Just go to theirmoneyyourprofit.com, use the coupon code GetMePaid, and you'll see that $24.97 reduced to $6.97 to start with, and then the other $6.97 from your profit on the honor system. I'm not going to be chasing all these people on the honor system. I can't do it, and I don't care. I don't match. What happens is all of a sudden I get a surprise. Hey, I just sent you $400. I just had a $4,000 a month. I just sent you fine. I don't care if it's 10% or 2% of your. Do it your way. I want you to start winning. When you start winning, you start getting generous. So that's what I'm counting on here. At least pay your obligation without being chased. I'm not going to chase you. All right. So there it is. This coupon code is just good for the first 10 traders. Okay. Because of the honor thing, we need money to run the company. And every month it's getting more and more expensive. So I don't want to give this to everybody. I want to give it to the first 10 traders. So theirmoneyyourprofit.com. Use the coupon code GetMePaid. I'm going to look if you've got, I see a chat here. I think it's probably putting, what are my trading hours? The trading hours looks like they're going to be in the morning, and I'm going to be taking input from some of the beta people, from all of my people. But usually somewhere between the last trading room we had, which everybody loved, was from, I think it was from 9 o'clock to 11:30, somewhere in there. But it's usually before the reports, so it's 8 o'clock to probably be 8 to 12 kind of thing. Does it work on volume charts? Yes, it does. Great question. It does. I'd be really excited to talk to you about it one-on-one. Yeah, it works on volume charts. I don't track volume primarily because I believe it's in the size of the candle to a large degree, especially if it's after some bigger candles. Okay, well, that is my time. I appreciate all those who commit to me because I will commit to you. So let's get our 90 days going. Let's get you started to win. Thank you so much, David, for the opportunity to present.